Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy Manny here once again. Welcome back to another episode of DFS Zone, your source for daily fantasy sport lineup advice for the NFL, NBA, WNBA, and MLB. And like always, guys, before I continue with the video, I appreciate you drop a like on the video. And if you have not subscribed to the channel as of yet, please do so down below. And do not forget to turn on your notifications. This way you do not miss any of my new uploads. With that being said, today is Tuesday, June the 26th, 2018. We got a 4-game slate in the WNBA. And before I go over the actual slate, the other day, Sunday slate, I actually made 6 lineups of GPP plays for the main GPP tournament, and I cashed in 5 out of the 6. My best score was a 207, just to share that with you. All that information is up. Yeah, I actually scored a 207.6, and I finished in 718th place. And then I finished at 903, 1114, 1180, and 1280. 6 lineups, 5 out of 6, not bad. I got $8 for each. That 718 lineup, at one point I was at as low as 400 and something. I got as close as that, but it didn't get any close. I knew then I wasn't going to get to the top. Nonetheless, I figured I'd share that with you guys. That information is always up on my Instagram. I actually been starting to post those on Twitter, and it will also be up on Facebook. So anybody ever want to follow and see how well I do every given night, anytime I win anything, I definitely share that on my social media. All right, let's get into the slate. So we got Phoenix at New York. Implied totals for this game 156.5. They got Phoenix favorite going into New York by 4.5 on the road. Team stats here, I have Phoenix is 5th in the league in scoring at 83.2 points per game. New York is 10th at 76 a game. Field goal percentage 45.5%. That's 4th best for Phoenix. New York is 10th in field goal shooting at 41.7. We got Phoenix 5th in three-point shooting at 34%. New York is 8th at 30.7. Rebounding, Phoenix is 31 rebounds a game. They're near the bottom. They're in 11th in that category. Obviously, Brittany Griner is their main rebounder. New York is 9th. They're down there pretty low in the league as well, with 32.8 rebounds per game. And then points per game given up to guards. Phoenix is 5th at 32.8 points per game given up to guards. New York is 4th, so they're pretty much even there. And in my eyes, as far as this matchup is concerned, New York is 4th at 30.6 points per game. And then when we get to the up front court, Phoenix is 4th in defending against points per game towards forwards and centers at 46.5 points, while New York is 8th at 48.6, only a difference of 2 points more per game. So this is why one of the reasons I think Vegas has this game fairly close. I think it's going to be fairly close as well. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I personally, in my opinion, when I look at this matchup and I look at the back court, it just automatically just draws my eyes over to Phoenix. So let's go right to the game. Phoenix at New York. We got Diana Taurasi. These teams already played each other one time before. Phoenix won that game 80-74, and it was actually at New York, and they actually are back again in New York for a second game. Eventually, they will play the last 2 games against each other at Phoenix. And let's look at the numbers here. Diana Taurasi, in that first game, Diana Taurasi put up a 36 spot against New York. Okay, so that enough just draws me even more so to the backcourt here. As we see here against New York right here, 34 minutes, 21 points, 3 rebounds, 8 assists, and a 36.6 spot. I mean, she has been playing excellent. I already discussed this before in previous videos. I mean, she is playing. I have the utmost respect for Diana Taurasi, playing absolutely out of her mind this year. She is, one of the older players in the league, one of the veterans. She keeps herself, the dedication she puts to her body is just truly what makes her so special. So, you're asking 7,700. Can she do it today? I think, even though, let's go to the Cruncher. I'm going to show you this. Diana Taurasi is facing, on Fantasy Cruncher, they're considering New York the #1 team against guards in the league. And as I already told you, New York on my list, as far as points per game given up to guards, is 30.6. Now, they're favorable. They're considered fairly good, but you got to look at the matchups. That's what I'm trying to teach you guys. Look at the matchups. Look into the games a little bit deeper. When you look at Diana Taurasi, we already know in the first matchup, she put up a 36 spot. Okay, she put up a 36 spot already against New York. So New York has had, when I looked in, looked in a little bit more deeper into the games New York has played against certain guards. They have had their trouble with guards like this that are very feisty, that are quick, that could shoot the three, that shoot well from the floor. So this is a perfect matchup for Phoenix. You know, so this is what you have to understand. That you can go by the DVPs, you can go by what I have with the PPG points per game to guards. But sometimes you just got to overlook that and say, hey, is the matchup more favorable? Yes, the matchup is more favorable for Diana Taurasi as well as DeWanna Bonner in this game, even though they're facing the #1 ranked defense. So, yeah, so I'm definitely in favor of Diana Taurasi. 7,700. You need 37. She's averaging 32. You have seen that she's hit more than 30. She's averaging actually at 32. She's hit more than 32 several times. 34, 45, 47. She had a couple of 20s. She had 36, 36, 36. I mean, she's good for it. And she already has put up 36 before. So I like her here. She's definitely someone that you could have in play here. If you wanted to get anyone out of this matchup here, and you wanted to take a player from this actual game, Diana Taurasi is someone to consider. She's averaging 20.2 points per game, 2.7 rebounds, 4.9 assists, 1 steal, shooting 43% from the floor and 37% from three. Absolutely, she is definitely in play here. And then you look at New York and you look at that side, you don't look at anybody there that can actually really defend these girls, Taurasi and Bonner. Next on the list, DeWanna Bonner, as you can see, 6,600. You need about 32, 33, and she's averaging 29. First time out against New York, she put up a 30 spot. So between the backcourt of Taurasi and Bonner, they put up 66 fantasy points the first time they played New York. Again, this is a tough matchup for New York. They're going to have their hands full. One of these two girls are going to ball their butts off, and I wouldn't be surprised if both of them put up the same numbers again. So if you are in play for it, so DeWanna Bonner is in play, and it's entirely up to you if you want to take her or not. All right, 6,600. Like I said, she's averaging 15 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.4 steals, shooting 44.6% from the floor. She's the third leading scorer in the Phoenix team. If she is not rolling, then that means Taurasi and Griner has grinded it out and has done their thing, and then maybe Sancho Little has stepped up. That's the only way they'll win games. They need all three girls to be clicking, and if all three of them are definitely shooting the ball well and putting up points, Phoenix is definitely in every game. When you look at New York, I am not looking at anybody here. The only two girls I'm looking at in the guard position for New York is Bria Hartley and Brittany Boyd. They're the only two girls that I've been playing mostly as of late. Bria Hartley, the first time around, put up a 32 spot against Phoenix, so we know she's capable of putting up those numbers. She's at a good price, 4,300. You need about 21. She's averaging 18. She did only play 17 minutes in the last game, but 23, 23, 22, 23, 27, anywhere between 23 to 27 minutes, and she's putting up anywhere between 18 to as much as 24 fantasy points. She's capable of getting you your 20, 21. This is definitely a decent matchup for her. If she already put up 32 before, she's going to need to do the same. She's going to need to be in that 20 somewhat range. She's averaging 8.3 points, 2.7 rebounds, 4 assists, 41% shooting from the floor, and 32% from three. So she's doing excellent. All right. Brittany Boyd, who I've played a few times, I was waiting for her to get going. She's a good defender. Okay. She can definitely score time to time. She can get hot. Against LA, she put a 27, 26, 25 over the last 3 games, 16 to as much as 22 minutes. Her minutes are slightly going up, but she does all the little things. She only played 4 minutes the first time they played. She was just getting back in the flow of things. So now that she's more of an integral part of what they're doing with the rotation, yeah, she's definitely in play. At 3,009, you only need 19, and she's averaging, as you saw, she's averaging more than 17 points, fantasy points per game over the last 3 games. All right, so definitely in play, Brittany Boyd. We go to the forwards. Brittany Griner, obviously, we know that she's in play. She's one of the top dogs in the league up front. For 8,700, you need 43. She's averaging pretty much 41. She's been just lights out as of late. 42, 41, 55. Had a 64 here, 45, 43. I mean, she played the minimal minutes because she was tossed. But, I mean, she's an animal, man. She's an animal. 43 spot in the first game against New York. I mean, New York, like I said, they're favorable against the front. On the front court, New York is 8th on my list as far as points per game given up to forwards and centers at 48.6. And if we look over here and we look at forwards, that's Miss Griner. Right here, New York is considered the second best defense against forwards. Well, they're going to have trouble with certain forwards. And when I looked into that a little bit deeper, they have had their troubles. New York, they have given up big games to a couple of big players. So again, you have to do a little bit of research. I can give you some of the tools, give you some of the insight, and then basically you should definitely do some more due diligence to make these decisions on these girls. But Brittany Griner is definitely someone in play for today. 20.1 points per game, 7.9 rebounds, 3 blocks, 56% from the floor, and she actually shoots almost 26% from 3. It's not great, but she definitely takes a few shots from there. We go down here, we got Tina Charles. Definitely is the one good player you can actually choose here in this game. She put up a 42 spot against Phoenix the first time around. Right here. 25, 8, 4, 2. Did have 4 big turnovers. 42. She could have had as much as 46. At 7,900, you need about 39. She's averaging 35. She's been in that range. She had a dud game here against LA. Obviously, they did not play well at all against LA. But 37 and 48. She's capable of it. She has 50-point upside, as we know, the same as Griner. She's averaging 20 points, 6.8 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 45% from the floor, and 25.5% from 3. So definitely someone in play here if you wish to go that route. She'll save you about $800 from Brittany Griner if you wanted to go that route. If you ask me my opinion, I'd rather ride with Griner. Okay? Just preference. I just think that she could have more of a monster game in this matchup. All right. Sancho Little in play, 4,500. She put up a 28 spot the last time against New York, so she was definitely getting busy as well. At 4,500, you need about 22, and she's averaging 20. So she's very, very close to her value. She put a 20 spot in the last game. She did have some dud games here against Minnesota and Vegas, 31-29. I mean, as you can see, she's got about a 31 to 35 point upside. This is not a bad matchup for her because after Tina Charles, I'm not too in favor of Amanda or Kia Vaughn, now with Miss Marissa Coleman hurt. Definitely New York. If you wanted to get value, so again, back to Sancho Little, 7.9 points, 5.3 rebounds, 1 steal a game, 56% from the floor. And she put a 28 spot against New York the first time around. Yeah, she's in play. If you want to go 4,500 in this particular matchup, yes, you can use Sancho Little. Kia Vaughn, I'm not on. Amanda Zui B has been getting more of the run as far as now that Miss Coleman is hurt. As you can see, 15 here, and then all of a sudden jumped up to 23, 22. She almost had 1 fantasy point per minute there, which is not that bad. So if you wanted to go down and save and get a value play here in this particular game, 3,600, not bad. You need about 16. And as you can see, she's been able to get 16 or better over the last 2 games. We'll move on. Connecticut, Washington. I don't have a line in this game. Let's go over the team stats. We got Connecticut is tops in the league in scoring at 88.7 points per game. Washington, third at 84.5. Field goal percentage are dead even. Connecticut is 5th in the league at 45.5%. Washington is 3rd in the league at 45.8%. So that's considered pretty much even for me. This is a nice close matchup here. 3-point shooting, Connecticut 7th in the league, 34%, while Washington is 2% better and 2nd in the league at 36%. Definitely like Washington guards as far as shooting the rock from 3. Rebounding, Connecticut is number 1 in the league in rebounding, 37 rebounds per game, while Washington is at 31.2 a game. That's 10th in the league. Points per game given up to guards, Connecticut is number 1 at 26.8, while Washington is 7th at 33.8. And then points per game given up to forwards and centers, Connecticut is dead last at 53 points a game given up to front court players, and Washington is at 48.6, and that's 9th. This is an excellent game to target. This game here is a game that I like to target as far as the actual game. This is a game that you can definitely target some players. You can get 4 or 5 players out of this game. The numbers will work out pretty darn good, and that's my opinion, and that's what I'm recommending you guys to take a look at. When we look at the game, let's just go right to it, and I'm going to be able to explain a little bit more as we go. Jasmine Thomas is the first one here in line as far as the guard, 6,100. You need about 20, you need about 30 pretty much from her, 30, 31, and she's averaging 26. She put up a 20. This teams have played each other already twice. Okay, Connecticut won the first game in Washington and just totally beat them up, 88-64. But remember, that was early in the year. Okay, that's one. Two, they did not have Elena Delle Donne, all right, for that game. Okay, so that's a big player to miss, especially the way Delle Donne has played for this team since coming back. So no Elena Delle Donne, they won by 24 points. That's not going to happen. It didn't happen the second time around. Second time around, they had a shootout. They played very well, both teams. Nice battle. Washington pulled that one out in Connecticut, 95-91. And both sides of the ball, both teams did fairly well in scoring. Jasmine Thomas put up a 25 spot in that game. The first time around, she put up a 34 spot. So remember, she has put up decent numbers against Washington. All right, she's averaging 14.1 points, 2.7 rebounds, 4.7 assists, shooting 37, almost nearly 38% from the floor, and 30% from three. All right, I think she's in play in this matchup. I think she'll do fairly well. Like I said, Washington is 7th in my list as far as giving up points to guards, so they're like in the middle of the league. I think this is a great matchup, man, for both teams as far as taking one player from each side as far as guard. But I'm more in favor of Courtney Williams. Courtney Williams, $200 cheaper. All right, Courtney Williams at 5.9K, 29 you need from her, and she's averaging 20, pretty much 25. She put up a 43 spot in the last game against Washington right here, 34 points, massive points. Okay, career high. And then the game before that, the first time around against Washington, only 23 minutes, a little less, but she put up 24. So she's had 2 solid games. She's averaging 12.5 points, 6 rebounds, 2.9 assists, shooting 45% from the floor, 36% from three. All right, definitely a fine play here. I really like Courtney Williams here in this game. Hands down. I think that if I'm going to stack in this game, I definitely want Courtney Williams. So Courtney Williams is in play, guys. We go over to the other side of the ball. We got Kristi Tolliver. She's definitely in play. She's come through for me time and time again. Last time against Connecticut, she put a big 40 spot. She shot 25 points from the floor, man. She had a heck of a game. 5,200. You need about 26. She's averaging 24. She's really solid. She's the second leading scorer in Washington. 14.8 points per game, 4.2 assists, 1.5 steals, shooting 47% pretty much from the floor and 40% on the nose from three. Kristi Tolliver is in play, guys. I don't care what this number shows here against Chicago, only 17.5 fantasy points. She's bound to have a couple of bad games. She did that here also with LA with their tight defense. But remember, Connecticut, even though they have their tight D, she already has shown that she can score in these teams. Sometimes it's just a matchup. She's a good three-point shooter. She spreads around good from the floor. She's a good dasher. She comes in and she gets in under the box a lot. So that's what sometimes makes it difficult for certain teams. All right, so Courtney Williams and Kristi Tolliver are definitely hands-down favorites for me in this game here. Let's move on. Natasha Cloud, she could be in play. She could be a sneaky play, 4,500. You need about 22, 23 from her. She's averaging 20. She put up a nice game against Chicago, 26.5 fantasy points in 28 minutes, nearly 1 fantasy point per minute. She's averaging like over 24 minutes the last few games. Against the last time out against Connecticut, she put up 14. Yeah, she got 14 in 34 minutes, and she put 19 in the first game. 19 spots. She's averaging 8 points, 3 rebounds, 4.8 assists, and shooting 41% from the floor. I like her. I just like Ariel Atkins a little bit more for $100 less. The rookie has been playing really, really well. She's not getting an abundance of minutes, but in the last 3 games, she's definitely getting some minutes, and she's showing some of her potential. And we saw some of that early on in the year, all right, when they used her. I think she's getting more involved in this offense again. She put up a 10 spot in the last game against this team, but it was only 12 minutes played. She's at 10.6 points. Her point totals have gone up considerably over the last week and a half. 2 rebounds a game, 1.5 steals, and shooting 43% from the floor and 35% from three. They got definitely some three-point shooters here among these 3 or 4 guards right here for Washington. That's why they're tops in the league. All right. So Ariel Atkins in play. I definitely also like Alex Bentley. I love these girls in this mid-tier price. And you guys, if you definitely look at my my lineups over the last like 4 or 5 games, you're gonna see that I have definitely catered to these girls in that $4,000 to $5,000 range. You could definitely load up on those, and you should be able to do well in the GPP. Alex Bentley definitely in play. Another girl that I really like. She put up only a 7 spot and a 19 spot, but didn't play a whole lot of minutes in those games. But now she's starting to become a little bit more part of this offense. As you can see in the last 2 games, 29 and 29 on the nose. What I like is that she defends, man. This girl is like, she's like looking to steal the ball all the time. Alex Bentley putting up 9.5 points per game, 2.6 assists, 1.5 steals, almost 2 steals a game, and shooting 37% from the floor. I like the price, 21. I think she can get that. She's definitely someone in play here. All right, we go to the forwards. Man, Elena Delle Donne. Hell yeah. We don't know what's going on with Thomas, man, and I don't really care, to be totally honest with you. I am all over Elena Delle Donne. This is a great matchup for her. First time around, she put up a 42 spot against Connecticut. Okay, 42 spots. And obviously she missed the first game, and that's one of the reasons why they got blown out. Elena Delle Donne is averaging 19 points per game, 6.8 rebounds, 2.7 assists, 1 steal per game, and 1.5 blocks a game. She's shooting 47.7%, nearly 48% from the floor, and 34% from 3. It's crazy. So she is definitely in play, guys. At 8,600, you need quite a bit from her. All right, you need about 43 from her. She's averaging 37, but as you can see, she's been in the 40s, 40 or better, 4 straight games. Now, granted, she played Chicago twice, but she did put up 42 against Connecticut, so she's already done it. And we know that Connecticut, like I said before, on my list as far as giving up big points per game to forwards and centers, they are dead last in that category. I calculated all these numbers. 53 points a game they give up front to forwards and centers. So Connecticut definitely had their issues up front, and especially that's more so as of late because of Miss Thomas being out. Okay, I understand that. But we have to go with the numbers if we want to win games, and sometimes these numbers make sense, and sometimes, hey, you know what, the matchups make better sense. This is a good matchup, and the numbers make sense. Elena Delle Donne should be a freaking hit today. All right, so she's definitely in my lineup. We don't know what's the deal with Thomas, so we're not going to go over. Shanae Ogwumike is definitely in play, probably the biggest play that you can have for Connecticut. Her price has been the same for the longest. I don't know how long now, maybe 5 games. 6,800. You need 34. She's averaging almost pretty much 30. She can get it done. She had a 20 spot here against Atlanta in 32 minutes, which definitely was not probably a good game for her. 31, but she has the potential. 40-point plus upside. Shanae Ogwumike, she's up there in numbers, doing very well. She actually put up a 42 spot against this team. All right, where is it? Right here, 40 minutes. She had to play 40 massive minutes in that game, but she put up a 42 spot. That's more than 1 fantasy point per minute. Okay, Shanae Ogwumike, 15.2 points per game, 7.8 rebounds, 1.3 steals, shooting 62% from the floor and 50% when she does shoot from 3. She's shooting at a 50% clip. So she's in play, guys. Someone to consider, 6,800. If I'm going to go with anybody here in this matchup, hands down, Elena Delle Donne. If I'm going to stack this game, which I think I will have a stack game, and I mentioned to you guys, definitely you should stack Delle Donne and Miss Shanae Ogwumike. And if you're going to stack anybody else in this lineup here, it will be LaToya Sanders. I'm not on Jonquel Jones. She hasn't hit, to me, I looked at this last night, looking at the team stats. Man, she's not hit 20. They at 5,800. You need about 27, 28 from her. She's not hit that number nowhere in like 7 games. This is the last time right here against Atlanta back on June the 5th. She put a 29 spot, not even a 30 spot. She has not hit nowhere near 27, 28 in about 7 straight games. So until I see those numbers go up, I am not on Jonquel Jones. I advise you guys, do not pay 5,800 for Jonquel Jones. Okay, this may be a nice matchup for her because Washington is 9th against giving up points to forwards and centers. But I am not. I'd rather go pick someone else from one of the other games. But Latoya Sanders may be a nice play. 5,100. She's starting to now become more a part of what this offense is all about. She's part of the rotation. As you can see from here, she has gradually been playing. 18, 13, 16, 27, 24. Had a 12-minute game here. Still put up more than 1 fantasy point per minute. 30 here, 35. These numbers have been crazy. I played her already twice, and one time she came up real big for me. Actually, the other day when I finished in that 15th place, she was one of my top players. She put up about 34, 35. So Latoya Sanders is definitely someone I favor, especially in this game. All right, she put up a 25 spot against this team and a 16 spot the first time around in less minutes, which I didn't share with you when I had the window open. She's averaging 6.8 points, 5.3 rebounds, so she gets down and dirty. Has 1.4 steals, 1 block, so she's definitely defending. 70% from the floor, guys. Latoya Sanders, definitely in play. Other than that, down here, cheaper value play, Miss Breonna Jones, 3,400. Okay, you can consider her. You need about 15 from her, and look at what she's done. In 2 out of the last 3 games, she has hit 27, 28 fantasy points. The longer she gets the minutes, she could produce. This may be a game, especially if Thomas is out. She's going to get some time because Shanae is not going to be able to do it all, especially against Della Don and Latoya Sanders and Tiana Hawkins up front. All right, so that's the end there. We'll move on to the next game. Seattle, Minnesota, we have 165.5 implied totals for this game. Minnesota favored at home by 6. Seattle is second in the league in scoring at 88.4 points per game. We have Minnesota 7th at 80.5. Seattle is 47% shooting from the floor, second best in the league. Minnesota is 6th at 45%. 3-point shooting, Seattle is number 1 in the league at 36.2%, while Minnesota is 3rd in the league at 35%. Very, very close. Rebounds, Seattle 6th in the league at 34.9 rebounds per game, pretty much 35 rebounds a game. Minnesota is 5th, right in front of them, 36 rebounds a game. So that's 1 rebound difference. Points per game given up to guards, Seattle is 10th in the league at 36.2, while Minnesota is 11th in the league at 37.4. Definitely a game to target on both sides as far as guards are concerned. And points per game given up to forwards, Seattle is 3rd at 45, and Minnesota is 1st. They're the best as far as neutralizing the front court, with only 40.7 points per game being scored on them. But, and it's a big but, they have not played against Seattle and Breonna Stewart. So totally a different animal here today. And when I look back, and I'm going to share that real quickly with you. When I look back at that, I'll get to it. Let me go through the game. All right, Jewel Lloyd, 7,800. Yes, she's definitely in play. Okay, definitely in play. 7,800. You need about 38. She's averaging 31. I'm just a little concerned that she's not been close to 38 often enough. As you can see here, 18, 29, 26, 21, 32. This one here, 41. Then when she went back down to 27. So she's not been consistently at around the price. I think the price is a little high for her. I think that me personally, I may be fading her today. I don't know for sure. I know I'm making more than one lineup like I usually do. She may be someone I may stick in one of the lineups because this is a favorable matchup. Let's go over here to the cruncher, and we go over to guard. And Jewel Lloyd, see, Fantasy Cruncher has Minnesota as 9th against defending against guards, and this is obviously pertaining to fantasy points and so on and so forth. Whereas I am calculating their points that they've given up to guards as far as scoring, and I have Minnesota as number 1. Minnesota is actually 11th. So yeah, so that really fits in. It's pretty much close to what they have. So Jewel Lloyd should be in a favorable matchup here as far as statistics against the defense. I just don't know if she can get this price. I don't know if she can get to that price, which is about 38 points. You need about 38. So, yeah, but she's in play, guys. You know, her numbers are good. 18 points per game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. She gets 1 steal a game. She's shooting nearly 44% from the floor and 37% from 3. What I like about this matchup also is that Seattle's won 4 out of their last 5 games, while Minnesota's won 4 in a row. So something's got to give one of these teams. This is the first time they're playing each other, so it should be pretty intriguing. When we move down, Sue Bird in line next at 5,400, and I like Sue Bird in this matchup. I think that price is just right. She needs 26, 27. She's averaging 21. but she's been really good. 3 out of the last 4 games, she's had a 25 or better game. And, so she's definitely playing a lot better. The assists are getting even higher. She's definitely defending better as of late in the last 2 games. So we'll see what she does today. She's definitely in a position that she could defend. Minnesota doesn't have a stud guard. Augustus is definitely pretty darn good. I've used her, and I probably will be using her again today in some of my lineups. But Sue Bird is not a bad play here at all, guys. I think she's in a very good matchup, and I think if you want to save $2,400, hell yeah, take Sue Bird in this matchup and fade Jewel Lloyd. And then you can definitely stack up on those big forwards, because there's a lot of good ones here today on this slate. All right, let's move on. Simone Augustus. Sorry about that. Simone Augustus definitely in play for me. 4,400. You need about 22, and she's averaging 18.3. And look at these numbers: 24, 24, and 21. Pretty consistent there. She did have a 28 spot back here. I mean, I like her. She's averaging 11.4 points, 2 rebounds a game, 2.4 assists. She's a scorer. 48% from the floor and 37% from 3. She's shooting the rock from 3 fairly well, too. So Simone Augustus is someone definitely you should consider in this matchup. All right? At 4,400, I think she's a fine play. I'm not on Whalen. I'm not on Canada. I'm not on anybody else in this game at guard. I'm just totally honest with you. I think there's other plays that I already discussed. Forward, Foles, Brianna Stewart, Maya Moore, and Natasha Howard, obviously all in play. All right, so we look at the big men here. Sylvia, 8,500. You need about 42 from her, and she's averaging pretty much almost 40. So she's very good. The price is okay. She can get there. As you can see, she had a 58 spot here, 40, 45. So she can get you 40 plus. Again, she only needs to get you 42. And I think this is not a bad matchup. Seattle is, they're in the middle of the pack. Actually, Seattle's third in my list as far as giving up points to the front court. 45 on the nose points per game. But Sylvia Foles is definitely a tough competitor, man. This is a tough matchup for Stewart as well as for Foles with Stewart. So we definitely, definitely both of these girls are in line. I wouldn't mind stacking both of these girls up if I can. And it may be because there are some good guard play where you can get that kind of price. All right, so again, let's go over. So Miss Foles, sorry, get myself distracted and I go all over the place. 17.6 points per game, 12 rebounds, 1.7 steals, 1.1 blocks. She's shooting 60% from the floor, so definitely she's in play. If you want to save $100, hey, Brianna Stewart is not a bad play. I actually like Brianna Stewart a lot in this game. Even though Minnesota is tops in my list as far as neutralizing the front court, only giving up 40.7 points per game to the big men, they have not faced Brianna Stewart. And I look back, and they had 2 games against Griner. Griner put up 47 and 41 respectively. That's over 40. Tina Charles put up 35. Liz Cambage put up 41. And they had, they did fairly well against Candace Parker. Candace Parker put up 32. At 8,400, we need Miss Stewart to put up 41, 42. And considering that Griner and some of these other girls have put up that much, I don't see no reason why Brianna Stewart cannot get 40 plus here tonight. I like her a lot more than Foles. She's averaging 21.9 points, 7.9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.4 steals, 1.6 blocks. She's shooting 52% from the floor and 32.8%, nearly 33% from 3. This girl's a baller, man. And she don't look that big, but she is incredibly good. Not to discredit at all anything from Sylvia. Sylvia's a good ball player as well. I just think in this matchup, I love Brianna Stewart more for $100 less. And if I was to stack anybody in there, I would probably go for both girls. But I would prefer more so going with Stewart and Maya Moore, who Maya Moore is consistently in that 30-plus range. She's a great cash play, like I've mentioned before, and she'll be a good cash play for you guys who play cash tonight. I think you definitely could consider her here in this matchup. Let's take a look a little bit more. 7.5. You need about 37 from her, and she's averaging nearly 33. But as you can see, 37, 37, 44, 39, 36. I mean, hands down. I mean, do I have to? It's right there in front of you. It's obvious that she's fairly good. It's all about the matchup, right? So the next thing you look at is, hey, where does Seattle land? Well, Seattle is pretty tough in the front court, and that's all due to Natasha Howard and Brianna Stewart. But then again, these teams, like I said before, have not played each other. So we're going to find out for sure tonight. And I'll be honest with you, I am all for stacking this game as well as stacking the Connecticut-Washington game. Those are my two favorite game stacks for today. There will be two lineups made by me. I'm telling you now, right now, that I will stack Seattle, Minnesota as one game. 4 or 5 players are coming out of there. And I'm going to get 4 or 5 players in another lineup with a stack from Connecticut and Washington. And I advise you guys, hey, you know what? Try to do the same. It may work. Maya Moore, like so I said, Maya Moore, 18.8 points, 5.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1.5 steals, shooting 42% from the floor and 34.7%, nearly 35% from three. And like I said, we've seen this the line there as far as fantasy points. She puts them up there on a regular basis. She's consistent. This is going to be a tough matchup for her. Let's see what where they fit in here. Maya Moore, they're 5th. Seattle, they have Seattle as 5th, and that's respectable. I have them 3rd as far as points per game given up to forwards and centers. So fantasy points here, they're 5th in defending the forward center. So that's pretty close. So they are definitely tough. It's going to be a tough matchup for both teams. I just think something's got to give. Either Stewart is going to have the big game, or it's going to be Sylvia, or it's going to be Maya or Natasha Howard. You know, Natasha Howard in play, 7,300. She's getting a little pricey, but she has still been very consistent as well. 32, 32, 32 here. She had that little dud game against Dallas. Obviously, it was a blowout. So then you need her to be on the court. 7.3, you need about 36. She's averaging pretty much 31.3. She is putting up 14.1 points, 6.8 rebounds, 1.1 steals, and 2 blocks a game. 60% shooting from the floor and 36.8. Let's just round it out. 37 pretty much percent from 3. Natasha Howard, man, she has been getting busy. So definitely someone in play. There's some notable mentions here. Alicia Clark, she could be in play at 5,000, a little pricey. She's coming back. If she plays, she's coming back from an ankle tweak. I'm not, I've said this before, I'm not in favor of players, that come back from injury right away. Rebecca Brunson has been pretty solid as of late. You can consider her, and that's pretty much it for me here as far as play. All right, let's move on to the last game. We got Dallas at L.A. This is the one game that is pretty much being looked at as from Vegas as possibly a blowout. You got implied totals 163.5, and they got L.A. at home favored by 9.5. They did play 4 days ago, and actually Dallas blew out L.A. in Dallas. so go figure. But then again, Dallas is always up and down, as well as L.A. So anything can go on. I can see where L.A. can bounce back and blow out Dallas today. But hopefully not, because there's a couple players here that will be interesting in this game. All right, numbers: Dallas 83.8 points per game. That's 4th best in the league. LA is 79.3 points per game. That's 8th. Dallas is 43% shooting from the floor. That's 7th in the league. LA is number 1 in the league in shooting at 47.4%. Dallas is 11th in 3-point shooting, so obviously we're not looking at them in that area at 30%, while LA's at 34%, 6th in the league. Rebounding, Dallas 36.1 rebounds per game, that's 4th best, and LA is dead last at 29.9, nearly 30 rebounds a game. They've still been down there for so long. Points per game given up to guards, Dallas is 6th in the middle of the pack at 32.9 points per game, and LA is 2nd at neutralizing points per game for 2 guards at 30.2 a game. When it comes to the big men, points per game given up to forwards and centers, Dallas is 47.6 points per game they're giving up. That's 6th, also best in the league, and LA is 7th right behind them at 47.5. So definitely even there, and a little bit of an advantage on LA as far as defending against guards. All right, so then we go to the matchups. Well, they played a couple of days ago, and this is what came about. Skylar Diggins-Smith at 8,100, guys. I am definitely fading Skylar Diggins-Smith. I could be wrong. She may come out and ball out today. Dallas definitely blew out LA the other day. LA may have the payback, but she put up a 26 spot in that game, and I did say in that previous video that she was in a tough matchup with LA being ranked so high as far as defending against guards. So as you can see, she played 27 minutes, which is pretty respectable. 6'3", 11 assists is awesome. 26.1 fantasy points. She's averaging 19.2 points, 4 rebounds, 6.4 assists, 1.2 steals per game, and shooting. And her shooting has come down quite a bit. She was once like 42, 43% shooting, very, very hot at the beginning of the year. She's down now to 38.7% shooting from the floor. So definitely something to be concerned about there. So I am not on Skylar Diggins-Smith, but we know that she has the potential, as you can see, to put up a 50 plus. All right, but she hasn't done anything like that in a while. And at 8,001, you need 40 from her, and she hasn't hit 40 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. So for me, I just gotta let it go. There's better opportunities here. Like I said, I like looking at those mid-tier guards because most of them have been really getting busy and producing enough fantasy points for us to be able to, get more value out of the big men. All right, Chelsea Gray, excuse me, 7,000. You need 35. And I'm not on Chelsea Gray either. I mean, she needs 35. She got 36 here and 42 here. Last 2 games didn't quite get there. The game against Dallas, 14.7 in 25 minutes. She may have a better game this time around. But again, like I said, Dallas is 6th in defending against guards. So they're fairly decent. And then when we go over here, let's take a look over here. And, it says here Dallas is 10th in the league against these. So you would think this is a favorable matchup for Chelsea Gray. I'm just not quite feeling it, but the numbers say that this is a decent matchup for her, and for better matchup for her as opposed to Diggins-Smith. But I just don't know. At 7,000, I'm telling you, I personally feel there is some good value at the guards that are at 4,000 to as much as 5,200 in this slate, in the entire slate. So I will be targeting those more. But she's in play here. I mean, the numbers say that she should be able to do well here. She only put up 14 against them the other day, so she may have a better game out. Her numbers are pretty respectable. They have come down a little bit since the beginning of the year. She's averaging 14.3 points, 3.3 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.4 steals. She's still shooting very good from the floor at 47% from the floor. That's one of the reasons why they're number 1 in shooting, is because they're definitely very good at shooting the rock. I'm not on Miss Sims. I'm not going to even go over the numbers. Alicia Gray here definitely might be someone that I would fade all these girls, and she, again, at 4,200, I like that price. 4,200, you need about 21. She's averaging 17, but she's been there a few times. 22, 21, 28, 24. Not so much so here against Seattle. But she did do well against LA. In 20 minutes, she put more than 1 fantasy point per minute. She's averaging 9.1 points, 2.3 rebounds, 1.3 steals, shooting 45% from the floor and 33% from 3. And again, she put up a 24 spot against them already, so I kind of like them. I really kind of like Alicia Gray here at 4,200. There may be some more plays, but in this particular game here, she's not a bad play at 4,200. And to be honest with you, that is it. That is all I like here. You could consider Elena Beard at 4,000. You need 20. She's averaging 14. All right. She's put up nearly 20 twice in 3 games. Against Dallas, she only put a 10 spot in 17 minutes. They didn't even utilize her much, obviously, because they were getting blown out. So that might be a different story today. She may be someone to consider at 4,000. I still like a few of the other girls. We go to forward. This is where I like some of the forwards, okay, in this matchup. You got Liz Cambage, 8,300. Okay, 8,300. You need a 40. She's averaging 40, and you need about 41 from her. So very, very close. First time out against these guys, she put up only 27. Obviously, it's because she played only 21 minutes and she put up 27, 20 points, nearly almost a point a minute. Not even fantasy point a minute. But they were tearing up these guys so bad that it was time for her to sit. She didn't need to be out there. So imagine if LA can keep this game a little close, I could see a huge game by Liz Cambage. She is definitely one of my favorite big men for tonight, other than Elena Delle Donne. So Liz Cambage is in play here, guys. Definitely in play, just by those numbers. All right. And on top of that, like I said before, LA is, where are we? LA against the big men are 7th. 47.5 points per game. They've been giving up 7th on my list. And over here, Let's look at the cruncher real quick. The cruncher, they have her, they're 6th. Okay, so pretty much about where I'm at. All right. But I love her here. She's averaging 20 points, 9.8 rebounds, 2.2 blocks a game, shooting 57.7%, pretty much 58% from the floor. And for a big girl, she's putting up 33% from 3 when she does shoot the rock from there. So not bad at all, man. Definitely all over Liz Cambage. And if you're not on Cambage, save $300 and take Candace Parker. I would not be at all willing. I would not be at all opposed to having both of these girls as 2 of my forwards in this matchup. Candace Parker, first time around against them, put up 28 in 23 minutes. So that's more than 1 fantasy point per minute. Obviously, she didn't have to play anymore because she was the only one that obviously was doing fairly well, and the team was not doing well everywhere else. And that's one of the reasons why she had only 23 minutes. They sat her down. Why? Why you need to keep her on the floor? All right, but she is pretty solid, man. 51 spot here, 41 spot here against New York. I mean, she's the real deal. 8K, you need 40. I think she can get there. 15.5 points, 6.5 rebounds, 4 assists a game, 1.4 blocks, shooting 53% from the floor and 37.5% from 3. Candace Parker is in play. If you want to save $300, you take Miss Parker. She's definitely in a good matchup here. Liz Cambage is good. She blocks and all that, but she also gives up a ton of points to good players. Candace Parker, especially that LA has 2 of them. All right? Because Nneka Ogwumike is a freaking damn good ball player, too. Ogwumike, what does she do? Let's look at Ogwumike. 7,600, need about 36. She's averaging 32.5. Against Dallas, she put 21 up in 25 minutes. Obviously, she probably 17 points is good. I don't know what her final shooting numbers were. We could take a quick look over here. Miss Ogwumike and Dallas, 7 of 9. She shot well. She just didn't shoot the ball a whole lot. So it was just a matter of these guys were just so hot that they didn't need her to be on the court. They got blown out. But she's averaging 16.4 points, 7.4 rebounds, 1.5 steals, 58% shooting from the floor, and 43.8, which is pretty much 44% from 3. My only concern with Ogwumike is that at 7.6, you need 36, and she hasn't quite hit 36 in a while. Okay, 1, 2, 3 games without hitting 36, and then same thing here. She went a stretch here of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, 7, 8, 9. So 9 out of the last 10 games, she has not been nowhere near 36 fantasy points. So that's a concern. All right, but this may be a game that she may be able to get that. She's definitely a decent cash play. She can get you 30 if you wanted to go that route. I definitely like the 2 other girls here. Cambage and Parker are my top choices here. And that's pretty much it. So let me just go over. In this matchup here, I forgot to give you FPPM plays. Fantasy points per minute plays, I always look for those. In this particular matchup here, Liz Cambage for Dallas would be one of the best FPPM plays. Projected to have 1.32 fantasy points per minute, so that is fantastic. Other than her, Diggins Smith, they have it here at 0.99, so nearly 1 fantasy point per minute, and Ariel Powers at 0.91, okay, will be another. All right. For LA, top choices are Candace Parker at 1.24 fantasy points per minute, and Miss Ogwumike at 1.12, and those are the only 2 I have for Dallas. All right, that's pretty much it. And when we go back to the other games, I apologize, I didn't give you those. Seattle's FPPM plays, they got Jill Lloyd at 0.94 and Sue Bird at 0.82. I like them both there with fantasy points per minute. I think those are solid. Bird, definitely because of the cheaper price. Brianna Stewart and Natasha Howard are the top FPPM plays for Seattle. Brianna Stewart at 1.20 fantasy points per minute, and Natasha Howard at 1.01. I love Stewart there more, actually, as one of the plays for today, as well as the FPPM play. In Minnesota, it's just Foles at 1.24, which is really, really good. It's even higher than Stewart. And Maya Moore at 1.01, the same as Natasha Howard. I would probably favor. I mean, both of them are just like an even pick for me. If you wanted to do a FPPM play, you can go Moore or Howard. I think you'll be okay. Moore has been showing a little bit more consistency of 32 to 35 fantasy points, so maybe you might want to go that route. When we go over to the following game, FPPM plays here for Connecticut, Washington. Miss Thomas at .92 for the guards, and Courtney Williams at .84. Courtney Williams a little lower. I actually have told you before, I definitely like Courtney Williams in this matchup better. Jonquel Jones, they have her at 1.20. I told you I'm not on Jonquel Jones, so I'm not going to make her someone that I would consider through a FPPM play. But Shanae Agumake could be someone. Shanae at 1.06. Fantasy points per minute is not a bad play. And then when we go to Washington, we got Ariel Atkins at .96 for the guards. Definitely like that. Ella Deladon definitely is one of my favorite plays in the entire slate, 1.13. And then we got Miss Sanders at 1.10, which I also like her as well, which I mentioned. In the Phoenix, New York game, FPPM plays not a whole lot. We got Tarazi and Bonner, definitely hands down for Phoenix in the guard position, .95 fantasy points per minute for Tarazi. Bonner, .94. And then you got up front with Griner, 1.19 fantasy points per minute. Definitely a solid play there with all the other stuff that I mentioned. And then FPPM plays, there's only one good solid play for New York, and that's Tina Charles at 1.09. All right. So again, guys, as I break this all down, I just gave you FPPM plays for each game. I already told you earlier which games I think are good games to target for game stack. Connecticut, Washington, perfect game. Seattle, Minnesota, perfect game. And then there's some definitely some nice little plays here with the big men here with Candace Parker and Liz Cambage. And over here in Phoenix, definitely love the Phoenix guard and Brittany Griner here. And if you're going to choose anyone from New York, it's got to be Miss Tina Charles, or not, take Brianna Hartley, okay? You go, or Brittany Boyd. I think those are the solid plays for New York there. And that's basically it. Again, I'm always going to try to give you the best possible plays. Be honest with you, I could throw in, as a matter of fact, let me try to throw in four plays here for you guys. I'm going to go Courtney Williams, Christy Tolliver in this matchup. And over here, you still got 5,700. Let's look at the forwards. Love Brianna Stewart. Let's see what that looks like with Brianna Stewart and Miss Deladon. Bam. Oof. Pretty tight. Pretty tight. So maybe there's four. These are four solid plays. I think these four plays are very, very good. But let me see. Let's take off Christy Tolliver for a minute. And I'm going to look at Miss Augustus. Okay. Now you see how you go Courtney Williams with Augustus, Brianna Stewart, and Deladon. You still got room here to play with now. Actually, this I'm just throwing this out here, you guys. I'm not sure which way I'm going to go, but you could take that out of there. You could take her out of there and try to find three solid guards in favorable matchups. Okay, like Alicia Gray here. Let's just throw that in there. Now you got 48. I want to be able to see if I can stack a third Miss Bentley. Something like that. And you still got 5,100 here for these last two forwards. Could work. Or, someone else. But again, right there, I don't know. I just figured I'd throw some guys out there. I don't know which way I'm going to go. This is why I can't come out here and just tell you guys, take these four. I really think, hands down, you should play any one of these two girls or both of them today. And if you're not going to go that route, definitely, if you're not going to go with Stewart or Deladon, then you must have Liz Cambage or Candace Parker, or both. You could go that route, or one of the two like that. All right, guys, that's pretty much it, man. I try to give you a little bit there. I figure why not throw a little something there for those who watch the video to the end. All right, so that's pretty much it, man. So guys, good luck tonight making these lineups. I'm going to work on mine right now, man. I mean, this is a nice slate. Like I said, there's two games you could definitely stack, and I am definitely going to work on that. Other than that, man, good luck tonight. God bless, and your boy Manny is out. All right.